Hello, everybody. I am so excited to be here with you today. I'm looking forward to sharing some thoughts that I believe can truly transform how we look at our lives and our decisions. Now, I've always been a firm believer in the power of stories. They have a way of capturing our hearts and minds, don't they? So I actually want to start off with a little story about myself, if you don't mind, because I think it shows an example of the decisions that we make and how small and large decisions can have a ripple effect that change the courses of our life. I know the little story I'm going to share with you now certainly changed mine. Now, I'm going to go way back to 1997. I had a really big decision to make. At the time, I was working in the hazardous waste field as a regulatory specialist, and I was so stressed out from this job that it actually was changing my personality. So I made a huge decision to walk away from a 16-year career. And I was so afraid I was going to go back into the business that I actually burnt all my bridges along the way to make sure that I didn't have the opportunity to go back. Maybe not so smart, but it worked out really, really well for me. Now, then in 1998, I had a little small decision to make. I fell into the opportunity to learn a trade from an old timer, and that trade was the upholstery business. Now, I really started doing it because I wanted to learn it for myself. I had some furniture that I wanted to do, and I was recently retired from my previous career, so I had the time to do it. And so I said, yes, why not? I'm going to go work with this guy and I'm going to learn how to do upholstery. Well, that small decision actually led me to starting my own upholstery business, so I became a small business owner because of that little decision. Then we're going to jump ahead to 2008 when I was looking to build a website for myself to expand my business. And I built a beautiful website. Nobody came. Not a single soul. I didn't get one more client out of the entire procedure. So I hired somebody to market my business for me. And $5,000 or $6,000 later, nobody came. But that company told me that I needed to spend an additional $10,000 for them to actually get results. And there was another decision that really changed my life. Even though I am a firm believer in investing in business, I wasn't happy with the work that they were doing, and because I had a background in marketing, I truly believed that I could learn how to do it myself. And I did. So I jumped into the world of internet marketing, and that was a decision that changed my life because I've been in online businesses ever since. And it also brought me to Janet Clark, who, as you know, is the founder of When, because I met Janet when she invited me to speak on her telesummit, the Freedom Switch, or the Freedom Switch or the Freedom Shift, I think it was called. And that introduced me to Janet, and even though we went our separate ways after that telesummit, with a series of other decisions along the way, it brought us back to one another. And as a result, we've been working together for the last year and a half, and you know how much I love her. I talk about her all the time whenever I do talk to people about Win. And anyway, the whole point of this story is that when I reflect back on all of those decisions, both small and big, it actually taught me something that is pretty invaluable to me. And that's the realization that the choices we make today, no matter how small, are stepping stones to the reality we live in tomorrow. So in our time together today, I'd love to explore just how powerful our daily decisions can be and why it is so super important to say yes or no with conviction, and how investing, be it time, effort, or money, can lead us to extraordinary outcomes. Now, I truly believe that every one of you, every one of us, has the potential for incredible success, especially when we surround ourselves with like-minded individuals. And I personally feel that you have made a really impactful small decision that's going to change your future. And that decision was joining this community, because here in the Women's Impact Network, we are all about helping one another to be successful. So let's dive into the actual talk about making decisions that are going to change your life. But when we move forward, I'm going to encourage you to think about your own stories, your own decisions, and how they have shaped your life up to this point. So let's move on and explore how we can all make choices that lead us to the future that we dream of. So let's get started. All right. We're going to start by delving in to what I consider the heart of this discussion, and that's the impact of today's choices on our future reality. So I'm going to ask you, have you ever looked back at your life and pinpointed a moment where a single tiny decision led you down a completely unexpected path? Kind of like the one that I shared with you when I left the environmental business, a job that I really began to hate, and ended up here where I am today, doing work that I absolutely love. It's kind of fascinating when you think about it, how our choices weave the tapestry of our very lives. And I'm going to give you another little example of how making decisions to do something can change a life really dramatically. I'm going to use the example of J.K. Rowling, and many of you already know this story. You know, she's the author of the Harry Potter series, and you know that she really chose to persevere with her writing, even when she was getting rejection after rejection after rejection. I mean, she submitted her book to so many publishers. They all said no, but she didn't let that discourage her. She kept on saying yes to herself, the belief that she had in herself, that she didn't belong on welfare, that she belonged making a difference in the world. And she continued on through all of the really bad things that were going on in her life until her publishing company, I forget what it's called, I think it's Bloomsbury or something like that, that finally accepted her manuscript. And the rest kind of is history. She's gone on to be the biggest author in our history, and she has just made the biggest literary franchise in history. All right? All because of one single small choice of not giving up on her passion and vision, even in the face of adversity. So keep that little story in mind as you go through your decisions. Are you getting kind of down about something? Are you getting discouraged? Ask yourself a simple question. If I give up, where am I going to be tomorrow? Is my future going to be better with this decision, or it's going to be worse? Probably it's going to get worse. You really need to persevere on what you feel is important to you. You need to make sound decisions. Again, whether they're small ones or big ones, you need to take a stand and make a decision. Now, the story that I did tell you about J.K. Rowling, all right, and also the one I told you about myself, it kind of explains what I call the compound effect of decision. And it is kind of like planting a seed. In the beginning, that seed is just a little tiny action. You're burying a seed in the ground. But then you take care of it. You water it. The sun gives it a little bit of light. And a little bit of time goes by. And that tiny seed grows into something much larger and more beautiful than its humble beginnings. So we're going to break down the concept of this a little bit further by talking about small actions and the power of delayed gratification and how to visualize into your future. We're going to take these each one step at a time, because the small actions often can bring big results. Every choice we make, no matter how minor it seems, adds up. So consistently choosing to learn a new skill, exercising regularly, or even saving a small amount of money. These are examples of actions that compound over time, leading to significant life changes. And it's important to really realize about the power of delayed gratification, because often the benefits of our choices aren't immediate. It's like investing in the stock market. The real growth comes from long-term investment. But the bottom line is this: when we make choices, especially tough ones, with an eye on the future, we set ourselves up for bigger rewards. So really, when you ask yourself a question, or you need to answer a question, make a decision, think about what happens if you're not looking for immediate results right now, but you're willing to sow that seed because you know that that decision is the right one to get you where you want to be a few months down the line. Which brings me to visualizing the future. I really encourage you to visualize where you want to be 4 to 5 months from now. A lot of people ask you to visualize where you want to be 2, 3, 4 years down the line. I think that's too far out to look, because even though that's important, we have to realize decisions today will gain results within 4 to 5 months. It might not be exactly where you want to be, but it will be a step closer. And if you don't make the right decisions, you're not going to be any closer to your dreams. So visualize where you want to be 4 to 5 months from now. It's all about little baby steps. So I also want you to realize that visualization isn't just daydreaming, all right? It's actually a really powerful tool for allowing, I can't talk all of a sudden today. It's a powerful tool for aligning your daily actions with your long-term goals. And remember that consistency is the key. We make the most impactful choices consistently. It's not about making one big perfect decision, because in real life there is no perfect decision. It's about making many small good decisions over a period of time. So, I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to think, what are you planting today? What type of seed are you planting today? What small choices can you make today that will lead you to your desired future? Now, I was talking to one of our win partners last night, and she just made a decision that she was going to do something, no matter how long it took her, because that was going to be the one thing that she learned in that given day. And she wrote to me later at the night, and she was like, I did it. And I was so excited for her because she made a decision that I know is going to impact her future. So again, every decision you make is a step towards a future reality that you are actively creating. Now, this is a concept that some people have a hard time understanding, or they banter around the word manifesting. I'm going to manifest this. I'm going to manifest that. Well, yes, you are capable of manifesting your future and anything that you want, actually. All right. As long as it's like realistic. I couldn't turn around and go, I want to be an astronaut. All right. At this stage of my life, that's not a reality that can happen. All right. But I certainly can dream big and manifest those dreams by taking small steps every single day, making little decisions that are going to get me closer to my goal. Now, we're going to talk about something else, and that is tackling this crucial aspect of shaping our future. But we're going to do it looking at it as the art of decision making. And it is an art because it's all about the choices. We can say yes, we can say no, but there is a huge trap in the word maybe. Maybe may seem harmless to you when you turn around and go, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I'll think about that. I may do that. That's a trap. My phone's dinging all over the place over here. I wonder if you can hear that. It's a little distracting. I should have turned it off. But my point is this. When you say maybe, it's not harmless. All right? Decision making is a complex process involving our values, our preferences, and reasoning. So I kind of find it fascinating how often we find ourselves at a crossroad weighing options. But the catch is our brain, while seeking the best option, can lead us to a state of analysis paralysis. That maybe trap is a common pitfall of analysis paralysis. It seems safe. It seems like we're keeping our options open. But in reality, it often leads to missed opportunities and a lack of progress. It's kind of like standing at the train station, watching trains leave one after another and never boarding that train because you can't decide where you want to go. So we're going to talk next about the power of commitment. When we make a definitive decision, we commit to a course of action. And that commitment is powerful. It propels us forward, creating that momentum that's going to get us where we want to be. So whether it's a yes or a no, it clears the fog in our brain, all right? When we say yes or no, the uncertainty goes away, all right? It sets a distinct path ahead for us. So I'm really going to encourage you, do not say maybe. And because I love stories, I'm going to tell you another personal story. This is actually about, I run a nonprofit here in town that we sponsor the food pantry. And we were in a tiny little location that was free to us. One of the churches donated the location to us. And we're an all-volunteer organization. So we're relatively small as far as financial resources are concerned. We don't get any town funds or state funds or federal grants. We're just a little local nonprofit that tries to feed the people in our town that are hungry. Now, there came a point where there was a lot bigger of a need than this little tiny pantry that we had could hold. So I had a really big, scary decision to make, and that was to go to a commercial property, because all of a sudden we were going to have to come up with like $1,500 rent every month, all the utility bills that are associated with it. And that was one decision that had to be made, and it was super scary. So the decision was yes, and of course I did that with the help of my board of directors. But then it was like, how much money needs to go into taking this new industrial space and making it workable? That was going to cost like $15,000. So the whole process was super scary. But the decision was made. All of a sudden, the focus became on, okay, decision made. This isn't a maybe anymore. This is a reality. How are we going to make it work? And we had so many blessings come out of it. Every single person that I approached to help build the pantry in this new industrial space, we had a waiting room that we had to set up. We needed a little shopping area. We needed a storage area. So there were walls that needed to be built, carpets that needed to be put down, shelving that needed to be purchased. Every single person I approached, without me even asking, said, this is such a good cause, we would love to donate our time. The person with the carpet donated the carpet. The carpenter that built the waiting room for me donated his time and supplies. There were so many blessings that came out of it. And then just a few months later, when we were asked to speak at a civic organization, somebody said, what's your number one wish? And the reply was, someone to pay our rent. And guess what? God sent us a little angel, and he has been paying our rent since 2011. So decisions have big impacts. And the biggest impact on this, the biggest ripple effect of that decision to take the scary course of investing all that money into making a bigger pantry was that we found that the need in our community was a lot greater than we thought. And we went from servicing 20 little clients a month to over 300. And we continue to feed them today. So it's like many, many blessings I feel like I've had because I had the inspiration to take that chance, make that decision. Do we go to a commercial property? And I went a little bit long on that example. I'm sorry. I'm very passionate about the nonprofit. But we're going to continue on how all of this really changes when you make a decision, a yes, a no. Get rid of that maybe. Because decisiveness breeds confidence and clarity. All right, so when we make a decision, we gain control over our situation. And that control is super, super empowering. Moreover, every decision, whether it's a positive or a negative, is a learning opportunity. So there is never any bad decision as long as you learn from it, but it's so much better when you take a decision and say yes to something, that you get out of your comfort zone and you say yes. Because when you take responsibility for your choices and learn from them, it's a plus plus. It's a win-win. I love to say win-win all the time. So I'm getting a little sidetracked here on what I wanted to talk to you about, but I hope you're getting my point about the fact that a decision needs to be a yes, a no, never a maybe. All right? Now, let me give another example of this. Consider the story of Steve Jobs. Everybody knows him. And this story I'm going to tell because it really kind of has like a ripple effect when you make decisions. So, as you know, he's the co-founder of Apple, and his career is definitely a testament to the power of decisiveness. But there was a pivotal moment when he decided to say yes to the development of the iPod, despite all the risks that were involved. And that decision not only revolutionized, I can't say that word, it changed the music industry, I'll say it that way. But it also set the stage for future innovations like the iPhone and the iPad. So Jobs' ability to make bold, definitive decisions, often going against the grain, played a crucial role in his remarkable achievements and the success of Apple. Now, contrast Jobs' story with that of a fictional tech startup founder. Let's call him John. Now, I'm making up this story because we'll never know how many Johns there are out there that chose no as an answer and never moved forward on an idea or a dream that they may have. Now, my fictional John had a promising idea for a new app, but he consistently found himself in the maybe zone. All right, maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe there's too much risk involved. So unable to commit to a clear direction for development, he was always waiting for the perfect time, the perfect feature, leading to endless delays. And it just didn't work out for him. So his inability to make a decisive choice resulted in missed market opportunities. And eventually his startup was overshadowed by competitors who were quicker to act. So how's that for me making up a little story? It is a a little fake scenario here. But I hope it highlights how indecisiveness and a lack of commitment can lead to missed opportunities and failure to capitalize on potential. So I'm going to ask you one more question right now. I'm going to ask you to make a small decision right now and promise yourself that moving forward, we're going to be decisive. So let's make that decision. Let's say yes to that. From this moment forward, I'm going to be decisive. I'm going to say yes or no, never maybe. And I'm going to always reflect on what the outcome may be. What's the outcome if I say yes? What's the possibilities that can come my way if I say yes? And then I'm going to look and I'm going to go, what happens if I say no? Will I be closer to where I want to be tomorrow? Or is that going to hold me back? Am I saying no because I'm afraid to step out of my comfort zone? These are just questions we need to ask ourselves, and we need to answer every question with a yes, a no, not a maybe. So we're going to embrace the power of saying yes to opportunities that align with our goals and no to distractions that don't align with our goals. So in the canvas of life, decisiveness is kind of like the paintbrush that we can paint our own future reality with. Now, we're going to talk about one more little thing, and that's the investing mindset. Because when we shift our focus to the concept that it is both, really, I find this intriguing, but it's really, really important. The investment mindset, I think I'm saying that wrong. The investor's mindset maybe should be the way I should be saying it. But anyway, if you're not familiar with what that is, I refer to it as an investing mindset when you are spending money to make more money. All right. It's a fundamental principle, actually, that drives business and personal financial growth. All right. We spend money to make money. So at the core of this, it's investing or allocating our resources with the expectation of achieving a greater return in the future. It's not just about money. It's about investing time, effort, and resources into something that's going to yield a higher value for us in the future. And a lot of times when people are asked to invest in something, all they can think about is how many hours they had to work to get that money. And they don't think about that it gets spent anyway. So spend that money in an area where you are capable of a better return on it. So if you think about it this way, there goes that bell again. Think about it this way. When you spend $100 with the aim of making $1,000, you're not just spending, you're planting seeds for future financial growth. So this principle is actually the cornerstone of successful businesses and personal wealth. But to make the concept a little bit more tangible, I do want you to think about it like planting a garden. And I'm sure you've heard this analogy before. You invest in the seeds and all of your gardening tools. That's your initial investing, all right? Then with time and care, there's the opportunity to harvest the fruits and vegetables. Those are your returns. And they're worth so much more than what you put in initially. So similarly in business and personal finance, the money you invest wisely can grow exponentially, just like that well-tended garden. And if you happen to watch the WOW interview yesterday, or the overview I should say, you would have heard me mention that a simple $100 investment when you join our partner company gives you the opportunity to earn thousands every month. So remember that an investing mindset is about seeing beyond the immediate expense. It's about understanding that when you spend wisely with a strategic plan, your money has the potential to grow just like a seed grows into a bountiful garden. It's this mindset that separates those who achieve financial growth from those who simply spend. Now, we're just about done with our 30 minutes over here, so I want to take a moment to reflect on the key insights that I was hoping to explore with you today. So I want to make sure I got those key points across. We started by understanding how the choices we make today are not just fleeting decisions, but the architects of our future reality. Like seeds planted in the soil, our daily actions, however small, have the potential to grow into something magnificent. We then delved into the importance of decisive action. Remember that every yes or no shapes the path that we tread. So avoid paralysis of maybe. Get rid of that word. Throw it out of your vocabulary and embrace the clarity that comes with commitment. Your decisiveness is a powerful tool in carving out the life that you desire. And then finally, we talked about the investing mindset, understanding that spending money is not always just an expense. It can be an investment towards a more prosperous future. So like nurturing that garden, the resources you allocate wisely today can yield an abundant return tomorrow. Now, before I say goodbye, I want to leave you with this simple call to action. Please be conscious and intentional in your choices. Look at each decision, each expense as an investment in the future that you are building and creating as we speak. Because it is so true that the life you dream of isn't just a stroke of luck. It's a series of deliberate, well thought out choices. So let's choose to create a future that reflects our highest aspirations. I want to thank you for your time and attention today, and I want to encourage you to step forward from here with a renewed sense of purpose and the courage to make those choices that will lead you to your desired future. With all of that said, I look forward to the next time that we meet, but for now I'll say bye-bye and have a blessed day.